week has passed since Adult Mabel's visit. The Mystery Shack is partially restored with new boards on the walls and temporary roofing. The Pines family is having breakfast at a makeshift table among construction materials. "Well, kids, today we finished the roof," Stanley says, chewing a sandwich. "Stanford, how are things going with that mysterious journal?" Stanford studies journal number 5 intently. "Fascinating. It describes creatures I've never seen before. Geometric demons similar to Bill, but completely different." "What kind exactly?" Dipper asks with interest. "Squares capable of altering reality through angles, pentagons that control time, and their creator, the architect. Mabel practices magic, creating a small pink shield. And I've almost mastered the protection spell. Look!" The shield flickers and disappears. Seuss enters with a hammer. "Hey, Mr. Pines, I finished the porch. But there's something weird." Everyone goes out to the porch. On the new boards, strange markings are visible, perfectly geometric indentations in the shape of triangles and squares. "What the heck?" Stanley says, puzzled. "I put these boards up yesterday. They were clean." Stanford studies the marks with concern. "These markings aren't random. Look, perfect angles, mathematical precision." Dipper takes out a magnifying glass. "They look like they were burned from inside the wood, but there was no heat. Is this related to what Adult Me was talking about?" Mabel asks nervously. Seuss scratches his head. "Maybe it's just really neat termites?" Suddenly, a faint shimmer appears in the air, a barely visible triangle outline. "Everyone back!" Immediately, Stanford shouts sharply. The shimmering triangle becomes brighter. This isn't Bill. The figure is smaller, silver-colored, with one red eye. "Scanning." The triangular scout says in a mechanical voice. "Subjects detected. Magical activity level low. Threat level minimal." "Is this one of those that Adult Mabel wrote about?" Dipper whispers. The scout turns to Dipper. "Temporal anomaly reference detected. Report to architect required." Stanford steps forward decisively. "Who is the architect? What does he want?" The scout scans Stanford. "Subject possesses interdimensional travel knowledge. Interesting. You have created portals. Protect us from evil." Mabel shouts, casting a protection spell. A pink shield surrounds the family. The triangle bounces back. "Primitive magic, but effective," the scout says, surprised. "The architect will be intrigued." It disappears in a shimmer. Everyone gathers in the living room. Stanford frantically flips through journal number 5. "Okay, someone explain to me what that was?" Stanley asks, agitated. "There's a mention here," Stanford reads. "Architects' scouts. Minor geometric entities that gather information about potential worlds for conquest." "So we're on their radar," Dipper says grimly. "But my shield worked," Mabel says, hugging Dipper. "That means we can defend ourselves. Maybe we should make bigger shields?" Seuss suggests optimistically. "I could build something like a magical fortress." "Adult Mabel was right," Stanford says thoughtfully. "We need to prepare more seriously. This scout is just the beginning." "Then we prepare," Stanley says decisively. "We have experience dealing with weirdness." The family works on fortifying the shack. Stanley and Seuss install protective barriers, Stanford studies spells, the kids practice magic. "I'm getting it," Dipper says, creating a blue shield, though it only lasts a few seconds. "Mine lasts almost a minute now," Mabel says as her shield becomes brighter and more stable. "Probably because I believe in magic more." Stanford draws protective symbols on walls. "These runes should make it harder for geometric beings to materialize." Stanley sets up homemade traps. "And these are good old mechanical contraptions, in case magic doesn't help." "I made special hammers," Seuss says enthusiastically. "If these triangles are physical, we can bonk them." By evening, the shack has become a small fortress. Deep night. Everyone sleeps in the living room for safety. Suddenly, the protective runes begin glowing red. "Alert! Everyone wake up!" Stanford shouts, waking up sharply. Outside the windows, silhouettes flash. Several triangular scouts circle around the shack. There are more of them, Dipper says, looking out the window. They're trying to break through the runes. Mabel creates a protective shield. Enhanced protective measures detected. A scout's voice comes from outside. Tactical adjustment required. Well, shall we try driving them off the old-fashioned way? Stanley asks, grabbing homemade weapons. The family prepares for defense. Suddenly, a familiar blue portal appears in the air. 2 time guards emerge from it. Architect interference detected. Time Guard 1 says in a deep voice, "Timeline under threat. We can provide temporary protection." Time Guard 2 adds, "But you must become stronger." The guards raise their hands. A powerful energy barrier forms around the shack. The triangular scouts bounce off and disappear. "Why are you helping us?" Stanford asks, surprised. "The architect threatens not only your world. His plans affect the very structure of time." "What do we need to do?" Dipper asks boldly. "Learn, become stronger, prepare for what is coming." The guards begin to fade. "Remember," Time Guard 1 says finally, "your family is your strength, but family alone will not be enough." Morning. The Time Guard's energy barrier slowly fades. The family stands on the porch watching the sunrise. "Family alone will not be enough," Mabel says thoughtfully. "What does that mean?" "It means we need allies," Stanford says decisively. "Others who can stand against the architect." "Maybe there are other people studying magic?" Dipper suggests hopefully. "Or beings who are also against the architect?" "Well then, we have a plan," Stanley says optimistically. "Strengthen defenses, study magic, find allies, and build the coolest magical fortress in history," Seuss adds, raising his hammer. The camera pulls back, showing the shack against the forest backdrop. A small crack barely flickers in the sky. "We knew this was just the beginning," Dipper's voice narrates. "But we were ready to fight, together."